YouTubers, it's RadFox here, and today's project was to change out the stock spark plugs for some IKH24 Denso Iridium plugs. These are the plugs that APR recommends for its tuned cars. These plugs are one range colder, and so the tip of the spark plug is actually a little bit further out of the cylinder, which reduces the temperatures that the tip of the spark plug actually sees. So why is that important? Well, if the spark plugs are getting too hot, right? If the engine's tuned, it's making more power, and the spark plug tips are getting too hot, you actually run the risk of melting the tips off or popping the ceramic off of the insulator off into your cylinder. And if that happens, you're lucky if nothing else really happens bad to your engine. But what can happen is that metal falls off, that ceramic falls off, it can fall in there in your cylinder and it'll get worked along the sides of your cylinder from your piston moving up and down, and then you're going to end up with the scored cylinder, and then you're going to have to either hole in that cylinder or sleeve your cylinder or get a new block, or you're going to end up having to rebuild your engine. And so that's a serious pain in the ass. You don't want to have to deal with that. So you want to run as cold a plug as possible, but there's trade-offs with this, right? If you go too cold, your car is going to suffer, your idle's going to suffer, you're going to possibly have misfires, you're going to have rough idle when your car is cold. And so once the car warms up, that'll usually go away. So how we tell if we need to go colder on a spark plug is we look for the, the heat mark on the actual ground strap on the spark plug. And so I'm going to show you my spark plugs, my stock spark plugs, and you'll see there's an actual coloration change on the ground strap, and that tells you if you need to go colder or hotter on your spark plugs. So I went ahead and gapped these spark plugs at 0.24, which is what 0.24 inches, which is what APR recommends. This was a tighter gap than the stock spark plugs, and I'm not so sure it's totally necessary. You sort of have to experiment with your gapping on your plugs. With turbocharged applications, usually the higher the boost you run, the tinier you have to make the gap on the spark plug.
There's so much pressure
inside the cylinder that the spark will get blown out. And so normally you will know this is happening because when you get on the gas, hard throttle, hard acceleration, you're going to have some misfires. You're going to have some popping sounds. You're going to have some roughness in that acceleration. And then usually all you have to do is go back in, reduce the gap a little bit, go drive the car again, and find out if that hesitation or that misfiring is still there. So this is a pretty small gap, 0.024. You know, normally in most applications you want to run the largest gap possible, but you're going to have stronger coil packs, higher voltage to run larger gaps. And so since I'm still using the stock coils, I'm assuming APR has already figured all this out, and so again we'll just stick with the 0.024 gap that APR has recommended. So going to the IKH24s, I haven't noticed any cold idling problems with the car. I haven't really noticed anything additional roughness or anything like that in the car. I have noticed though with one of the Dynalicious runs that I did that when the car was sort of cool, when I did my first launch control quarter mile, that the car was actually slower. It didn't have all the power there. I did a second run after, obviously flooring the car and going up to 120 miles per hour, and on the second run the car was faster. The time dropped down from the first run was a 12.7, which was really shitty. I was surprised. And then the second run, when the car was hot, was a 12.48. So, that might be spark plug related. I'm not totally sure what was going on there. But definitely, I mean, that's the only thing that I've noticed so far. I haven't noticed any drivability. I haven't problems. I haven't noticed any rough idle. I haven't noticed any roughness and acceleration. But I did notice again that my one Dynalicious run, when the car was just not hot, just cool or normal operating temperature, that it did lack some acceleration. Alright, so I think that's all there is to talk about here. So here's the install.
Alright, so actually what I want to show you first are the stock spark plugs. These have already been removed from the car. and I want to go over this with you. I think this is more interesting. The rest of the video showing actually how to remove the spark plugs and put them back in, that's already sort of been covered in the compression test video. So I think this is more interesting, so let's take a look at the spark plugs.
Okay, let's get a nice look at these spark plugs. Let's look at number 1 first. Alright, let's take a look at this plug. Hopefully this is in focus here. Can you see this line right here? This is the heat line on the spark plug. This line right here, see, I couldn't see this before, but after I've driven again here, you can see this. This is very obvious. But this line right here shows the hottest part of the spark plug. And what you're trying to do when you set your heat range of your spark plug is you are trying to get this line to be right parallel or right even with the tip of the spark plug. You want that tip to be in the hottest part of the cylinder. So in this case here, because this is down low on here and I need to raise it up, what it means is I need to go colder. I need to pull this tip further down, further out of the cylinder, so that will basically raise this heat line up towards this tip. So going 1 range colder here, hopefully it's not too much. We'll have to see. We'll check the new plugs here, I don't know, in a couple thousand miles, and we'll see what they look like. But definitely I can see that heat line there now. Looking for the heat mark, well, this was a little bit harder, but I still think I can see it. It's somewhere right in here again. It's somewhere down on the low side. It's a little hard to tell on this one for me, but I mean, I'm thinking it's somewhere right around in here too. So again, going colder looks like it's a good idea here. We're just going to take a look at each one nice and carefully here. Here's number 3, and look at that. You can see the heat scoring there, right in that range there. A little bit low compared to the tip, so we'll go colder. And yeah, I must have dinged it. All right, same thing here. This one's hard to say exactly, but it looks like there might be some color changing happening around in here.
All right, so all 4 plugs are a little bit cold. So definitely the IKH24s, which are 1 range colder, should move that line up towards the tip, towards the middle of the ground strap. So again, we'll have to check it later and see exactly how far it moved the line. Hopefully it doesn't move it too far. Depending on, what you believe, who you talk to, I think that a lot of people think that it's probably better to be a little bit warmer than it is to be a little bit colder with the spark. But again, depends on who you talk to. So let's carry on with the rest of the install.
Let's pop this cover and pull this, loosen that connector. All right, let's just go ahead and take off this ground, 10 millimeter, right? Ground wires off. Okay, these are still numbered. It still has grease on it. All right, let's take these out. 5/8. first, let me grab a ride. Just something to throw over the top of these when I pull them out. Okay, first off, I'd like to say that I had one of these medallion type gappers that are really good for opening the gap and you know, measuring the gap. These are the basic gappers that almost everyone's using, right? The pretty cheap ones. But I went out and bought one of these that has the little notches in here that's supposed to be able to bend the spark plug ground over. And this one here, this one I got from O'Reilly's, and see how it's plastic? This metal right here, this steel, is very wimpy. In fact, when I went to bend over the electrode on the spark plug, right? When I went to bend over the electrode on the spark plug by hooking it in here and bending this, the only thing that bent was actually this adjuster. So this is a real big piece of shit. So it doesn't say what brand this is, but don't buy the plastic one. So I went to Napa and bought one of the metal ones. And, you know, I had several of these before. I don't know where they went, but who knows? Maybe somebody borrowed it and never returned it. But I went and got this one. Now this one, the steel is much stronger on it. And I'll show you here in a second here. We'll take a look at this. I want to gap these to 0.024. That's what APR is recommending. So let's go ahead and just check this one here. So hopefully you can see this. I've got the 0.024 feeler gauge, and you can see that, hopefully you can see that this is sliding in here too loose. So I'm going to take this adjuster and I'm going to give this a little bit of a bend, hooking underneath. I'm making sure I'm not hitting the electrode because it's very tiny. Give it a little bit of bend, and let's check this again now with the feeler gauge here. Okay, let's go a little more. Let's go a teeny bit more. Okay, hopefully that didn't. I'm sure it went too much now. No, actually it didn't. Okay. So, hopefully this is focused here. And you can see that I've got to get it sort of just right. And then I'm going to say that this is good. Okay? So this one's set to 0.024 inches. Now, I actually already went and did these already. Let's just recheck them real quick. Make sure I'm happy with them. Get the camera to focus up close. Okay, it's right on the edge there. Okay, yep, nice. You know, this one, yeah. Okay, that's perfect. All right, we'll stick with that. All right, let's see here. This one feels like I could go a little bit tighter. Let's go a little bit tighter on this one. The thing is that this metal, when you bend it, it's got a little bit of memory, so it'll spring back. So you gotta make sure you get enough to put a bend on it. Now that one looked like it's too much now. Damn it. Yeah, okay, so now I've got too much. Alright, so I'm going to use the other tool to hook up underneath, and I'm going to just barely give it a pull down with my thumb. Let's check that real quick. Hopefully I didn't go too dang far. Okay, okay, so I've got it in. I wiggled around a little bit, it went in. This one's a little bit close. Oh no, okay. All right. Okay, yeah, that's good. Let's go with that. Okay, so the 4 plugs are gapped. Now let's go ahead and put them back in the car. Now, the manual recommends that you put some grease. That you put some grease up inside in here. And I think there's enough grease in here right now. I don't actually have any just plain silicone grease like they're recommending, so I'm just going to go ahead and put it in. Like I said, I can still see, and you can see that there's still some grease in here. So I'm going to go ahead and just put it on. Yeah, I can feel that it's slimy. Okay, so with the old spark plugs here, there's definitely grease all over these. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these in. The first one in, lock it in. I can get it to pop in. Okay. And put it in by hand, right? First one. Let's get the second one. I'm gonna get the third one. Right. All right, number 4. Now I'm going to go ahead and use a torque wrench on here just to see what this feels like. So the manual says to put these at 22 Newton meters. So I've already got this set up to, this one reads in foot pounds, so it's about 16 point something foot pounds. So I got this set for foot pounds. And then let's see here. Wow, that's nothing.
I love getting parts in the mail.
Oh heck yeah, man. Christmas.
It's the best. Christmas all year.
Yep. Oh, I love that too. I gotta do my intercooler next. That'll be a big box.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that does not feel very tight at all. 22? Wow. Factory, that was way tighter than that. That's crazy. That's 22 Newton meters? Wow, what a joke. 22 Newton meters isn't very much anyway, so. Okay. 1, 2. Okay. 4. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just push them on. What the hell? I'm pretty sure I can line these up. All right, let's crank those down. Nice. 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 Okay, let's get the grounds on. Okay, I'm gonna hold this ground. Make sure you have a good ground here. Okay. On all these spark plugs, on these coils. Okay. I'm happy with that. Now, do we really have these plugged in? I think. Yep, that's it. Okay. Like that. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Put the cover back on. Pull this up. Okay. There she is.